Hey everybody, so I'm here with what is today and to me an exciting lecture on MoRa fine-tuning for large language models, which MoRa being a brand new fine-tuning method that is released by Microsoft. So let's dive into it directly. Within the lecture handout, you'll find a link to the arXiv paper, so you can read the paper directly if you want to go over exactly what this fine-tuning method model is and how it works. But diving into it very specifically, let's start off at the top. So starting off with full fine-tuning overall. Fine-tuning is essentially training a model on new information, on information that it wasn't already aware of. And so in the beginning, when you wanted to fine-tune a model, you fine-tuned it exactly the way that you trained it. Very expensive, very time-consuming. And it would update all of the parameters of the model. Big thing to note with this is that beyond anything else is that it's just severely expensive and severely time-consuming. And then so within that, there's a lot of work being done with regards towards how could we make this more efficient. And then so the big breakthrough came through with PEFT, which is parameter efficient fine tuning. And then so most fine tuning methods that you are aware of that are utilized, that I utilize, are based off of derivatives of PEFT, like LoRa, LoRax, etc. The big one that I use is LoRa. I'm personally fond of LoRa above any other one. And so with these, what the difference is between PEFT and full fine tuning is that you are only fine tuning a certain number of parameters, a very small number of parameters, say like 1% of the parameters overall, as opposed to 100% of the parameters, right? So it's very efficient on that front. And then you have different methods that fall under that, for example, LoRa. And then so what LoRa does is it adds when you do a LoRa fine-tuning, you eventually add a few parameters to the model. So let's say that you have a model that's 7 billion parameters, and then you LoRa fine-tune it. It's going to come out like 7.1 million parameters, 7.1 billion parameters, right? Because you add some parameters during that fine-tuning process, and then those added parameters are what you're actually fine-tuning. And that's a kind of an important thing to note overall. And then so you're adding kind of a overall like layer of parameters, and then you're only fine tuning that layer. It's like low parameter, right? Which is part of it. LoRa, which is low rank adaptation. Your the lower parameters is the lower rank parameters is what you're actually fine tuning. These additional parameters that you're adding. And then so MoRa, on the other hand, is this goes a bit into the mathematics behind the models. And then so if you aren't aware of the mathematics behind like neural networks, to me the mathematics is that they're essentially stacking matrices, right? And then so if you understand what a matrix is, then you understand what how a neural network works, because it's like a stack or a layer of matrices, right? It makes up a matrix, and then so within that, within MoRa tuning, essentially what you're doing is you are, in essence, adding a new layer to the existing layers, but you are the simplest way that I can think of to give an analogy for what MoRa fine tuning actually is would be like fine tuning a hard drive, or a not fine tuning, but like if you're reformatting a hard drive, right? You take the hard drive, and it has an existing storage limit. Let's say it's a 20 gigabyte hard drive. It will always be a 20 gigabyte hard drive, right? You don't reformat it and then all of a sudden it becomes 25 gigabytes. And then so, but you reformat it essentially to take the patterns of information within it and make those patterns of information more efficient. You are grouping them more into more efficient patterns. And then so that is in essence and exactly what you're doing with MoRa fine tuning in this particular instance, is that you are taking those existing parameters and those existing layers, and then you are reformatting the layers to make them more parameter efficient overall. And then so within this, what they found is, and so the bottom line within that is you'll see this overall throughout, is as opposed to LoRa, which is low rank matrices. The key difference for MoRa is that it uses square matrices. So it's like think of it like it fractalizes the layer and then puts it back together again, like reformatting a hard drive, right? That's exactly what the process is that's occurring. And then so within this, they've done multiple tests and then multiple tasks within it. And then what they found is that like across the board, it performs as good or better than LoRa across the board in instances. But highlighting like the instances where it performs very well are instances where you want the model to um, be performed on very specific like language type tasks. So biomedical, financial, and then as well as like role playing, and are the key ones that I've noticed are being like kind of highlighted or talked around with regards towards the paper. And then in those areas in particular, and then especially in some mathematical reasoning areas, it performs off the charts better than LoRa fine tuning. Which, if you know anything about these models, mathematical reasoning, fine tuning, and having it perform better in mathematical reasoning when it comes to fine tuning is significantly important. That's kind of like the whole point of the models, right? And then so just going into the other things to note with regards towards the model, just and the method, just highlighting that there's different variations of LoRa fine tuning as well that have existed before, and then different ways to adapt and to utilize MoRa. And then so it will be interesting to see the applications and the use cases for MoRa as they develop. Currently, right now, I don't know of any fine tuning like transformer fine tuning or like collab notebooks or anything like that that I can build out for you guys that are going to make more like really simple and hands on for you. But I'll do a follow up lecture probably within the next week or two with regards towards like a hands on for MoRa. But I want to make this lecture. Put it out there as kind of this first introduction to this, and hope you guys learn more about MoRa, because this is, as someone that is really into fine tuning and especially like LoRa fine tuning, MoRa I can see having significant advantages and significant advantages overall to your model performance when it comes to fine tuning. So look forward to seeing you in future lectures. Thank you very much.